to Whose Turn Is It Anyway, a podcast all about our gaming group and our ever-increasing goal on establishing the most VPs. I'm JP, your current first player, and I'm joined by other players Tambo.
Hello.
Becky.
Hi.
And of course Adrian.
Hello.
And whether you love them or hate them, we're chatting all about expansion theory. Not the deep and meaningful debate about the expanding universe, but the other one, the board games expansions.
Extra bits.
Extra bits, more bits, and even more cardboard. But anyway, Tambo.
Yep.
It's been a while since I've seen you on an episode.
It has.
Yeah, we've kind of like ships that cross the night or whatever.
I've actually been on When You Play One.
No,
I don't think it was.
No, because I was did the first four episodes and you didn't turn up till whenever it was episode.
No. Adrian, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, you were Wingspan. I think.
Wingspan. That's it. Yeah.
So like 6, 7, 8, episode 8 or something like that. Yeah.
You want it?
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
Brilliant.
But how you been, mate?
Yeah, all right. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah?
Good. Yeah. We'll see.
All good. Good. How about you guys?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Yeah.
Thought I was getting a bit of a cold. Did a COVID test. I've not got COVID,
Result.
so that's good.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
And Adrian, you've been on the last one, so.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
not long ago.
Yeah,
So
and I saw you yesterday.
yeah, it's true. So,
And the day before, maybe. No, maybe not.
no, I don't think
No.
so. Well, I certainly didn't see you,
Yeah.
but
I was spying. on you. Anyway, shall we get on with the show?
let's do it.
It's turn 2 and it's time to talk about Hex, all the games we've played. So I'm going to go first, because why not? It's my last episode as first player, so I'm taking control of what I can. So I'm going to talk about a game we played on Friday with Curly, Davey and Ian.
Ian played a game.
Ian played a game,
Wow.
which was just a monumental feat in itself. So yeah, that was Endless Winter. Or as Curly likes to call it, Ice Age. But there's no little squirrel thing that's running after nuts.
That is a missed opportunity, isn't it?
It is, although
they
have a promo card with it in.
fair enough. That
So
makes
that's
sense.
quite nice.
Oh, that's
quite
cool.
cool. Anyway, what is Endless Winter? Endless Winter is kind of set in the Ice Age, Paleo-American kind of era, where you kind of play as these tribes, all developing your kind of tribes throughout various different eras of the game, getting as many victory points as you can. If you ever look at Endless Winter or look at any videos of it, you'd look at it and go, Jesus Christ, it's like there's bits everywhere. So it's not like, normal games, you get one board and everything's just collated on one board. In this game, you've got like a little mini board where you do your actions. You've got a hex map, Catan-esque, like off to the side. You've got this thing called a megalith board where you're putting tiles on that's completely separate. You've got another board. It does look like a spanking paddle, I'm not going to lie. But that's where the animals go. And there's another track where you kind of raise up the honour. And so there's like 5 or 6 different kind of bits. And so when you're setting the game up, you're like, where do I put all this stuff, Whereas normally it's all kind of predefined. It's a board and you just plonk it down. So that bit's a bit kind of weird. So like when you're coming to the game, you kind of don't know where to look. You like to look here and here. But obviously as you play, it all kind of connects and makes sense. So essentially what you're doing in the game, it's like a light... I call it a deck build. It's not a deck builder as such. It's kind of a deck curation game. It's a bit like the Dune Imperium, Lost Ruins of Arnak style deck building, if you want to call it that. And essentially you're just trying to kind of do a variety of different actions in the game. So the main board's kind of split into 4 main columns. And the idea is that you'll put your little chief and all your little kind of workers on there. And you can either kind of recruit more tribe people into your clan, which are all the different cards that do different things. You can kind of develop your culture and your tribes. They're like special cards that are in this row, which will help you, just give you these little kind of strong bonuses that you can play at the start of your turn every round. Love those culture cards, they're awesome. And you can migrate, so this is where you kind of interact with the map part of the board, and you can kind of move your huts around and develop villages on the kind of map. And the last piece is hunting, so you can kind of go after the animals and
on
the spanking board, and then bash them on the head and then eat them if you want to. So yeah, you kind of get to do like the action as many times as you can. You spend labour off your cards, so every card that you have has a certain amount of labour that you can kind of pay. So you can kind of go heavy in one action, which will leave you quite light in your second and third action of the round, or you can kind of spread it around and do whatever you kind of do there. But it's just a nice game. Really had a good fun, I'll say a proper first multiplayer version of the game, and I think most people enjoyed it, which was quite nice.
Till he said he did. He sounded up for
Yeah.
another game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like with most games, I mean, Curly just stonked it. Davey just stonked it. Standard.
That's
standard,
Standard. Yeah, it's getting a bit boring now, isn't it? Let's be honest. But I fundamentally didn't have enough tools. So in the game, tools is a resource that you need for everything. So you need tools to kill animals. You need tools to build huts. You need tools to initiate tribe people. And if you don't get enough of them, it's quite restrictive.
Yeah.
And as always, I was like, I should have got more tools or tool generation, kind of culture cards and stuff like that. But yeah, it's good fun. I really enjoy it. And because I got the old Kickstarter one, there's those little modules in there that do all sorts of different things. There's a little mammoth that you can kind of play around with. Why not? It's a woolly mammoth. It's cool. And yeah, rivers and rafts, cave paintings where you can literally draw like I'd say kind of a roll and write, but that kind of dry erase marker. That's what I'm trying to say. You can draw like lines and then you'll kind of circle around certain bonuses and benefits as if you're on the cave drawing cave pictures. But yeah, interesting game.
Curly said I'd really like it.
I think you would actually.
He said this is definitely one that I would be interested in.
Yeah, it's kind of in that middleweight. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's just like I said at the start, when you look at it, you go, Jesus, what the hell is this? But
that's what I felt about Dinosaur Island. Too many things.
To be fair, that's worse.
Too many things. Too many clashing colours.
Dinosaur Island's supposed to be heavier.
Okay. I don't think it's an easy game. It's just a lot to look at.
It's a sprawling. There's so many boards, and your focus is like on phase 1 there, phase 2, and then this that. You kind of, I don't know. It's like watching a tennis match, isn't it? Like with your net going left and right all throughout the game. Whereas this one's not so bad, and you can kind of see the connections very quickly off the action, so you know where you're looking, you know what to do. So Endless Winter, I recommend it.
I want to play it.
Play it some more, definitely. So
maybe, no offense to Curly and Davey, we should get a game without them and see how it scores.
I'm up for that.
Give someone else a chance to win.
Yeah.
No, just without them.
Yeah.
Only joking, guys. But that's me. Who wants to go next?
I played Clank Catacombs for the first time. First time playing any kind of Clank game. Really loved it. Really, really loved it. Really easy to understand. Fun, cool little tokens. You're basically exploring a dungeon, aren't you, really? And yeah, deck builder. Typical deck builder.
It is a deck builder. This one is a deck builder.
Trash your rubbish cards, get good ones. Earn loot, get loot, walk around, try not to die in the deep caverns, and get out and win. Yeah. It was really good fun.
You had a big smile on your face throughout the game, didn't you?
Yeah, I actually won a game, and unbelievable.
How do you die? Do you use traps?
Well, it starts off. You think, I'm never going to get any damage on here. I've got loads of health. This is for and it kind of ramps up quickly. Basically, whenever you create noise, clanking around, you put little tokens on the board. Every time a particular icon on a card is drawn, so you're drawing these, like, as you pick up your other cards, more cards are revealed. Sometimes they've got pictures of dragons on. They've got a picture of a dragon on. All those kind of generated clanks go in a bag.
Right.
And then you draw an amount out of the bag. So some of them are going to be just black cubes, which are just dragon cubes, nothing happens. And then increasingly, they're going to be your cubes as well. So if they then come out, then they go on your health. They kind of reduce your health. So the more you're clanking around, the more and the kind of further on the game goes, the more cubes you draw out each time. Then when someone does die in the game, every time it would have been their turn, you draw more cubes out. So you go from having no damage, a couple of damage, 6 damage, 8 damage, 10. Then you.
How am I getting out of this dungeon?
Yeah. It's really fun, and it ramps up very quickly.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
The best cards in the game tend to have clank generation, so the powerful ones are like, you can do all this cool stuff and get rich
but you're going
to make a lot of noise.
Right.
So you need a ways of kind of reducing clank before it goes in that bag. Because obviously, usually what happens is you go, I can take 3 clank off. Oh, it's already in the bag. Shit. Yeah.
That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
So I was like 2 away from death, and then all of a sudden I managed to get rid of like 4 of my, damage tokens all at once. I was like, wow, I'm now the least damaged. This is amazing. And fortunately, just happened at the right time, and everyone else got absolutely mashed, and I managed to run out of the dungeon. So I was sort of the winner by proxy, really.
Nice.
But
Yeah.
that's Clank.
That was
literally,
brilliant.
yeah.
I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, like greed is a thing in this game.
Yeah.
Right, you think I could just get another 20 victory points if I just keep looting and keep going deeper and deeper, and then you get to the point where
You can't get out
you
quick
can't
enough.
get
Too
out
deep.
quick and you're
Yeah.
too deep.
Yeah.
And there's a big rule, and it's in all Clank versions. Usually there's a line on the board, but in this version it's all like modular tiles. And if you get above the line or to out the depths, basically, and if you get killed, you can still keep your loot
Yeah.
and keep your victory points. So essentially, you get rescued. You get more victory points if you make it out alive. You get a mastery token, I believe it's called. But yeah, and just trying to get above the line, it's just like, come on, I just need to get.
Yeah.
Because movement is all denoted by your cards that you're playing. So as the game I had no movement cards hardly ever. I was just stuck in this room just going, I don't know what to do, and just couldn't move anywhere. So I was one of the fatalities.
Yeah, well, you were the first fatality, I think, weren't you?
Yeah.
So then every time it comes, but then every time it comes to you, you're then helping murder everybody else. So it is quite fun still. It isn't a case of, oh well, I'm out now, that's it, pointless. You're then, adding to people's damage, which is quite funny.
Yeah, so it
So-
kind of escalates the game, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
and I think you're right. You can get kind of killed. There is an elimination aspect to the game, but you're just laughing at everyone else's expense, to be fair. And the game's wrapping up in 10, 15
Yeah,
minutes.
that's
Yeah,
it.
so
There's
it's not a
not
long game then,
no,
so no, so that's
not after one person is
No.
gone. Then it's all very much
Very
quick. Run out, get moved, go.
Yeah.
Really good. Really enjoyed it. Really easy to understand and follow, which is good for me. We taught a new player at the time, so that was really.
Yeah.
It really, well, 2 new players at once, and the game didn't probably take much longer than it probably would have done had we not had 2 new players. So that was really good.
It was Joel from Devon Dice, wasn't it? Who
That's
brought
right.
it
Yeah,
along,
yeah, yeah.
and,
So thanks for that,
If
Joel.
you've not listened to his podcast, he likes that game just a little bit.
He loves a bit of Clank, all versions of Clank. He's got them all, hasn't he?
He's got them all by
Yeah.
the sounds of it.
Base Clank, I think he had Clank in space, but sold that. Clank Legacy, he's
Yeah.
actually played through 2 copies of it, he said.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Good
You can't get through an episode. He's like you and Too Many Bones. Just
Yeah.
every episode has a mention of Clank. And
Well,
We're contracted, mate. That's all it is. Yeah.
he sold it to me. I would definitely be looking for a version of that. And I
Yeah.
think I'd go for Catacombs because I liked the kind of modular aspect of the kind of map building. I liked that.
So that was my
really cool.
first player, Catacombs, and yeah, just to kind of explain that, so the map's all based on tiles rather than a fixed board, so that you're literally exploring it as you go. And
Yeah.
actually, it's not a massive change to the game. The game's exactly the same, although they twist some of the kind of rules along with it. But I think it makes such an improvement because that map and dungeon is just going to be so different. And certain cards, when they get revealed in the dungeon rogue, will say if you're on your own on a tile, it spins round. Then suddenly you're like,
So, yeah.
oh,
So you had a great way out, and now all of a sudden,
yeah.
oh,
The labyrinth is
Yeah.
kind of like, oh my god, how am I going to get out now? And then, but they're all
Yeah.
like little teleportation zones you can get
Yeah.
around. But yeah, it
Yeah, it's
changes
nice.
everything.
yeah,
nice use of a modular board, that is.
Yeah.
yeah, really liked it.
Good
Will
stuff.
be on my list.
I know you're going to get it. Yeah, it's fair. Okay, who's next?
Yeah, I'll go next. So I've managed to play a game of Batman Talisman on the weekend.
Yeah, saw that you had a family day, didn't you?
Yeah, big family day. I played it 2-player with my nephew, and it was good then. I quite enjoyed it, but I thought it'd be better to have more players. So I thought, as I've got 5 people there,
Yeah.
give it a go with 5 people. So yeah, put it on the table. The board's impressive. The figurines are really, really detailed. They're really good actually, and it was a little bit long-winded in my
Yeah.
opinion. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's an old school roll and move, like everyone who plays Talisman knows. And yeah, it's very the Batman aspect's brilliant, and the whole idea of it is good. So you start off the bottom of the Arkham Asylum in the first level, and you work your way up to the control room to defeat Batman, and
So
then
you play the
release him.
villains, don't you?
You play as the villains, yeah. And if you roll a 1, you move Batman around the board, and the person who rolls 1 decides where he goes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you just obviously stitch other people up. Yeah, it was. How can I say it? It was hard work, I think. Yeah, you just like you got to level up your strength so you get as strong as Batman. Because Batman gets harder every level you go up. So you got to make sure you can roll better than him to defeat him.
Yeah.
And it just seems like none of us were really getting our strengths or cunning up, and it seems to take ages. I mean, I was getting there, and then I went up into the 3rd level, and I realised if I go up, I lose a health. I only had 1 health left, and I died.
Oh.
Yeah, I really made a bad mistake.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really do a rewind because it would be cheating, so I had to start again. And then after that, I don't know, it just seems to really, really drag along.
How long did it go on for?
So probably about 4 hours. And we still didn't complete it.
Oh god.
Yeah, we still didn't do it because we had to have dinner and stuff. And
You just
my niece had a go at defeating Batman in the middle, and she just couldn't do it. Bless her. She had to roll a 2 or 3. And
How old's your niece?
Good question. 14.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think I'd like to try it with us, like a more mature people, because I think a lot of the time when my brother-in-law didn't know what he was doing, bless his cotton socks, but he was just going around trying to heal all the time.
Yeah.
That's not the aim of the game. The aim of the game was to boost your stats up, to get in the middle, and it was all a bit nice sometimes because you didn't want to get Batman with this person.
Yeah, well, we're not nice.
And when you're in the same spot, I'm not going to punch you and take your stuff. I'm just going to do the room instead. But when it feels us, we'll be like beating each other. Yeah, it might go a bit better, and it'll be a bit more tactical maybe. But no. But I will give it another go.
Yeah.
But so that's what I played at the weekend. And
I think it's just an old system, isn't it? The Talisman. It's been around. I don't know how many years, but a long
1980
time.
something.
Yeah, I remember the original one with the really shonky looking board.
Yeah.
Because I think I got given it second hand when I was about 11 or 12, and that was my lasting memory, was just going round and round and round this board and going, right, I've got to find this item or whatever it was, or get these bits and pieces together so I can go unlock the next bit or whatever. And it just seemed to go on forever.
Yeah.
And then since then, obviously they've had sort of slightly newer updated rules, and I think they've had a Harry Potter version, and they've had the Batman version, and I want to say something else as well. But so and it sells, like it seems to sell. People do seem to like it. But yeah, as I say, I haven't played it in yonks, and the last time I played it, I'd have still been at school, and just my lasting memory of that game will be going round in circles for hours.
Yeah, no.
On the sale pile, then potentially.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it with the gaming group. Hopefully, I'll put a session up and try and get it on and see how it goes.
Thanks, T. Adrian.
Yeah, so as sort of Becky alluded to, we went down to the Cranbrook Gaming Day, which is actually in Rockbear, I think, but
Near Cranbrook.
Near Cranbrook. Yeah. So, but yeah, they do a Sunday. It seems to be like they're going to do it every couple of months now. Like they've already just announced the next one. They meet up every Thursday anyway, but they seem to get a few more people in on the Sunday. And yeah, I went there last time and really enjoyed it, but sort of hung up with the same group, sort of nervously, not knowing many people, kind of, sort of introduced myself, met Joel and that there, and then we stuck around for that group for the whole day. And this time I was like, I'm just going to go and see what games are out there that I like the look of, and go and play that. And the first one was Earth, so will be delivered to Kickstarter backers soonish, probably about now as the episode's going out. And Paul Grogan, having sort of got it and done an unboxing video, brought it to the games day, and it's great is the long and short of it. So what is it? Essentially, you've got an island that you're going to grow these plants on. As like, it's a bit abstract in that sense of you're not a person going around growing, you're an ecosystem that's growing these plants. And you've also got different terrain types, and they all give you bonuses. Sort of, it's part way between Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition and Wingspan. If you kind of push them together, that is kind of what it's like. So you start off and you'll have two, like a card that's got two sides on it, and it's two different like unique player powers to start with. On both sides of each. So one's your island and one's your environment, and they kind of start and dictate where you're going to go, a little bit like Prelude from Terraforming Mars sort of thing. It'd be like, draw 12 cards and you've got to discard 4 of them. And discarding is actually really useful, so it's called composting.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love it when you do that.
Yeah, so that's good.
And that each composted card gives you a victory point at the end of the game. So actually discarding stuff isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
And you'll get abilities, or you can get abilities that then allow you to take cards out of compost, and it will give you 2 soil, which is like the primary resource in the game to buy stuff with. And so it's kind of, I'm giving up a victory point, but then I get to do something or whatever. So you get those powers to start with, and you have what is essentially a 4x4 grid. It's not on a board or anything like that. You just have to know that you're allowed a 4x4 grid. So the first plant or terrain you play just kind of goes in the middle of this blank area you've got on the table. And then over the game you can decide, is that card going to end up in the bottom right hand corner or the top left, because you build the cards up around it, and you're just never allowed to go bigger than a 4x4 grid, which is really exciting and interesting. Like takes that wingspan sort of 3 rows, 5 columns kind of sort of thing, and it allows you to play a much more intricate sort of puzzle game of
quite like that.
things. It's like, if things are orthogonally adjacent, you get bonuses, and if things are diagonally adjacent, you get bonuses, or if things are in a row, you get to do stuff. And so you can kind of build it up, and it's got essentially what are tags from Terraforming Mars. So it's got, it's got frost symbol or a mountain symbol or like a water symbol to suggest humid climate and stuff like that. And so it'll say, all of your, I had one that was all of your frost cards cost 1 less, and so then I start building up lots of frost cards, and I had, if you've got trees diagonally, you get 5 points per that, and so you start and build up this 16 by 16 grid. And the way you do that is you've got 4 actions. There's planting is the first one, which is where you put down cards onto your 16 by 16 grid. There's gain soil and resources. There is grow sprouts, so little sort of cubes. Essentially think of them like eggs on wingspan, if you like. They're just a little spot. You're allowed so many of them. You can pop one on, and then that's a victory point at the end for every sprout you've got. And then they've got another mechanic similar to that called growth. And essentially each plant, so not the terrains, but each plant has a space, and it will say this can go 4 high. So you can grow up your plant by like stacking these little tokens on top of each other. When you get to the top one, it's then worth more victory points. So each little stack is worth a victory point. But if you get 4 high, it'll say, well, when you get to your 4th high, because that's all you're allowed on this one, or 2 high on that one, or whatever it is, you'll get 7 victory points. So it's almost like, with eggs on wingspan to kind of put it into things. If you fill up your bird with eggs, you would get more victory points for having done that. And so it also sort of encourages you to fill up 1 card. But again, you've got things that will say, anything in this row can have a growth on it if you activate. So
there's nice verticality with it, as well as like...
Yeah, and it comes off the table because you're stacking things on top of each other. So it looks, you've got these little green cubes, and then you've got these little stacks of growths, and you're building this little grid. It looks really impressive as you're playing. And I think people who've backed it, I'm a bit gutted I haven't backed it now, but I think
It
does sound pretty good.
Sounds great.
Awesome.
I think people who've backed it are going to be, if they like that kind of, as I say, like Ares Expedition engine building and sort of selecting an action mixed with that wingspan, build up a grid with bonuses for having similar types of thing, and the whole putting eggs and tucking food and all that kind of stuff. If you like all of those things from those 2 games, I think you're going to love Earth, because it's just got all of that in one puzzle. I'll probably be picking it up when it hits retail.
It does sound good.
It does.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's the games we played.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tambo.
Yeah. Great, more fun than I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Let's get on with it. Okay, it's time for the main event, and we're going to talk about expansions. I have a reputation.
You do.
This group,
you absolutely do. And it's well founded.
It is well founded, and I can't hide from it, to be honest. And having looked at my Board Game Geek collection, just seeing actually how many expansions I have. I think I said it on another episode. Most of the collection is expansions. But then I do have like Marvel Champions and Too Many Bones, and there's just lots of packs and things that are classed as expansions. So it looks worse than it actually is. No one's believing me.
I was going to say,
no one's
tell
believing
yourself.
me. I keep telling myself that. So I thought, why not just do an episode on it? And okay, well, what should we talk about expansions? But yeah, just the general kind of topic of expansions, what they do to the game, what types of expansions you can get, and examples of some good ones, examples of maybe some not so good ones. Like there is any bad expansions, come on. And yeah, just have a bit of a chat, because I think it's quite an interesting conversation piece anyway, and why they exist and kind of how they come about, and actually what they do for people like me who likes to collect everything.
I was going to say, the trouble is with you, you're a completist, aren't you?
Yeah.
So if there is a version, like I'm any different, but if there is he's got this one, and you've got some of the others, you have to have
well, why don't I have this? Yeah.
I'm surprised you've stopped as early as you have with Marvel Champions.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
could
You ain't got that whole
see-
layout on that. Yeah.
No, you've gone further.
I've got everything.
Yeah.
I haven't missed one yet.
I had to stop. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that. So let's talk about what is an expansion. If anyone doesn't know, I'm sure most of the people listening know what an expansion is. But I mean, essentially, it's as the name suggests, it's like an add-on to an existing base game, which can change the game up. It can add more stuff. It can do all sorts of different things. So it's essentially what publishers like to do when they want to, cynically earn more money out of an existing IP, or maybe that they certain designers or even fans of certain games have come up with some really unique and great ideas to put certain twists on existing games, just to kind of keep them refreshed, keep them people playing them, keep people buying them, and all sorts of different things. So kind of what I've done is categorize what I think are the different types, and I'll just quickly run through them, and maybe we can kind of circle back and give some examples on those different types. So ones I've got here, and feel free to chip in if I've missed any. You've got the more players expansion, right? So that is typically ones that just add more players to the game, because usually they might have a 4-player game, and then a lot of people are like, why is it not 5? Why is it not 6? Yeah. And they add a 5th or 6th player with extra components to sort that out. So you've got that one. You've got like a modular expansions where it'll add lots of different modules that you can kind of turn on and off in a game. You can kind of throw them in, mix and match. Doesn't really change the base game per se, just kind of adds some bolts on. It's what I'll probably call a bolt on. You've got ones that are like integration, so expansions which fully integrate into the base game and actually changes some of the base game mechanics, so that you, not that you don't recognize it, but they all twist certain things and yeah, definitely change it for the better, hopefully.
Those tend to be like a complete, compared to the modules, which you can add little bits as you want to, the integration ones tend to be like, this is a whole unit, you add it all together on a tool.
Yeah, it's all or nothing. You can't pick and choose, I like that bit and I don't like that bit, because the whole thing wouldn't work. So it tends to definitely be an all or nothing. You've got like a more stuff, more content expansion, so it's literally, it's not changing the mechanics per se, more variability, more variety, more cards, all those kind of things. Usually a lot of cards. And then you've got like errata. So errata being what I call like fixes, balance tweaks, changes, all those kinds of things. Those are the types that I can think of. Then if you guys can kind of think of any more.
What about expansions that give you more scenarios, basically?
Okay, like more stories. Like content. Story content
expansions. Yeah.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess you've kind of got adjacent to that sort of spin-offs of things. So let's think something like, say, Ticket to Ride. So it's not really an expansion, but it's like a little variance.
Yeah.
So
like more maps and stuff.
Yeah. So you can't really. They are completely different games, really, but you probably wouldn't just buy one of the others. You'd probably buy that. Oh, I like the original, so I'm going to buy Ticket to Ride Europe. Or
Ticket to Ride's an interesting one, because you've got Ticket to Ride and Ticket to Ride Europe, and then Ticket to Ride Europe and Ticket to Ride tend to then have a load of add-on maps that you buy just as map packs. So you've got the spin-off game and then all the expansions that go with each spin-off game. So yes, I can see what you're saying, but you do also have, that's not to be confused with just buying more map packs that you absolutely can with that. All I was going to add is that a lot of these games don't come, it just adds more players, it just adds modules. Especially with the errata ones, quite often they are, here's some content, and part of that content fixes our balance issue.
Yes.
And therefore it's, I mean, from a, again, cynical point of view, it's at least, it's a kind of way of hiding them, putting their hands up and going, well, you got this wrong the first time out the door. But also, they tend to be like, especially the ones that come to mind especially are the player expansions, adding more players, and the errata expansions. They tend to come with a host of more stuff so that it's not, here, spend £10 fixing the thing we didn't get right in the first place. It tends to be then, spend £35 and we fix the thing and you get more.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
No, honestly, you're not wrong, because we've all seen that, which is, here's 5 cards, just bin the ones they replace. They've tweaked it. You could argue, well, they've changed that because the expansions tweak the rules. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do, because they add a new resource that this expansion is introducing, for example.
Or a new keyword or something like that, and it's like, well, in which case you need.
I guess it doesn't have to be cynical, though, does it? It could be just, this has been play tested by the general public now so much more.
Oh, yeah.
And we have discovered that there's this little crazy secret combo that Curly's discovered that's wrecked it for everyone now. So we have to
That's
kind
all
of.
games. Let's be fair. There's always a secret scenario.
He's
that
worked out the death combo. So now we have to make that not a thing.
So no, I mean, kind of going just quickly through them. I mean, the kind of going back to the more players expansions, the ones that kind of examples. We bring some examples to the table for people, like Clank that you just played.
Yeah.
Clank has an expansion called the Adventuring Party, which literally adds the 5 or 6 players into the game. Also, it adds asymmetrical powers, asymmetrical decks. So,
But you could just probably do it just with 5 players or 6 players,
yeah,
right?
because it comes with the base decks as well. Like, so you can optionally play with either or. But as Adrian's point, you can't just buy the 5th and 6th standard decks.
Yeah.
You have to buy the
Yeah,
whole
have to
lot.
buy the whole lot.
So you got to kind of want to buy these things, and as you say, you can't always pick and choose. You just get what you get, and you either buy it or you don't, right? So that's kind of my examples. I think Blood Rage was another one that kind of popped into my head. I think they had a is it a 5th player expansion? Then if
I don't have it. No, but I think.
Yeah,
Rising Sun certainly
Rising
did,
Sun, yeah.
which added a load of extra stuff, and then just sort of said, and you have a 5th player.
yeah. Barrage is another one they did a 5th player expansion for.
I mean, the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. So, again, I tend not to buy these expansions so much because I often find that they're best at the base player count.
Yeah.
And the exceptions for that are if you are taking simultaneous turns. So my favourite 2-player expansions are Quacks of Quedlinburg,
Yeah.
which adds a 5th player with the first expansion box, or the second, I think, either way. But you're doing everything at the same time, so it doesn't slow down the game, doesn't really change
Yeah,
the
simultaneous
pace
play, right?
or anything like that. And it's a wonderful world. And again, you are drafting and building all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the right way to do it. There are a couple of others, but for the most part, anything else that adds players, I tend to think to myself, it's distorted the game longer than it needs to be, perhaps. Like, it's added 45 minutes to put it on. So I tend to not really go after those. But like, even like Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle, I'd never play that 4-player, but they've added a 5th. Right, okay. But there are games out there like that, and some of them, like the first ever expansion I ever really sort of saw was the Pillars of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I added a 5th player. At the time, we have regularly had 5 players, and so yeah, in hindsight, maybe it's not the best expansion to add a 5th player of best game, but at the time, our gaming group was 5 players, and we loved that game. So the fact that it took an extra half hour, 45 minutes, and there's a load of extra rules to explain didn't bother us.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of down to personal preference, right? Do you love that game, and is your gaming group continuously 1 player more?
Yeah.
Than...
A lot of times, some gaming groups can just be 5 players. And then
Yeah.
it gets awkward and you can only play up to 4.
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah.
oh, I wish it had a 5th player. But you're right, some games just don't work as well. The downtime between
Slow down
turns,
and
just
stuff.
you're waiting 20 minutes and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, kill me now. Just wanna take my go.
Other good ones, Lords of Waterdeep, Scoundrels of Skullport. That
Yeah.
gives an extra player.
Yes.
But you have to play the expansion to play all 5 players.
Yeah.
But,
That's like a nice integration one, isn't it?
I wouldn't play without it now.
No.
It always has to go in.
I've never played it without it, and
Yeah.
I can't imagine
I wouldn't
it
play the
without
base
it.
game anymore because of that expansion.
Yeah.
And you guys now put both in at the same time, don't you?
Yeah.
You
Mix
got to
it
put all
right
in.
up.
You got to put it all in because
Yeah.
a lot more contention with it.
More
and it's
shops, corruption.
Corruption's the best part
That's
about it.
amazing. Becky's obligatory Zuli mention that obviously adds up to 6 players.
With the little expansion
little
cards that you got.
expansion. Yeah, but
which is now base now.
Yes,
Okay.
in part of the base, yeah. And that doesn't really affect time, I don't think, necessarily.
Not really.
And it does have a few more animals, but I don't think that really affects stuff.
No, because again, you're
To a
drafting and
detriment.
playing
Yeah,
at
exactly.
the same. Might add a little bit to your draft round, but
Yeah.
other than that, it's there, isn't it?
It's the new Wingspan one as well, isn't there?
Asia.
I haven't played the Asia.
Flock mode.
Yeah, I haven't played
Adrian
it yet,
says,
but
"Flock off."
I struggle. I love Wingspan, but 5 players is quite long between turns.
Yes,
isn't it?
I
So
totally
another
agree.
player.
I mean,
2 players actually, isn't it? Another 2.
Yeah, it's up to 7.
Seven.
And it is kind of an interesting way of doing it. I just can't see myself being like, we've got 7 players, let's play Wingspan. So essentially they separate you into 2 groups, a group of 4 and a group of 3.
Right.
And you turn a dial every turn and it tells you which players get to go, because obviously the group of 3 goes quicker than the group of 4. So, like, I think one of the groups ends up with downtime. I can't quite remember what it was, but I looked at it and I remember thinking, that's when I looked at that game, that's not what I thought it would need more of, was more players.
Yeah.
Like the 2-player version, I might buy that expansion because of the 2-player version. It looks really good, but yeah, I couldn't. It blew my mind that they were like, now you can play it with 7. I was like, Was there many people asking?
Yeah, I
Seven
can't
pound
imagine.
Wingspan?
I can't imagine that. When I was putting it in the nesting box, I was kind of all
Do I
those
burn this or
all
This
those
bit on
bits.
the bottom?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I was looking at the duet mode. It's like, oh, that might be interesting, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I'll potentially give it a go at some point, but definitely not on the flock.
I think Wingspan's a great example, actually, how it kind of covers some of these categories, because it has the more stuff content one with the European expansion, right? Which is legit. You want more birds, you've got more birds, even more birds and eggs, and basically you just chuck in more birds. And then is it Oceania, which actually then twists
nectar.
it
Yeah.
twists the
Nectar,
game
nectar,
a little
they
bit.
always
doesn't
put
it?
nectar.
I've never played it yet,
But it doesn't change it too much. That's what I like about it. It doesn't really. I think they realised, the food thing is a real bind with this.
Yes.
Maybe some people love that brain break. I do not. It annoys me.
Yeah.
And the fact that you've got this nectar as this kind of sort of wild card thing, really like that. So it doesn't change the game massively.
Mm-hmm.
It just, I don't want to say makes it easier. It just makes the kind of the decision making process a little bit smoother.
Makes the scores up a bit at the end as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Mixes
good.
it.
And who
up.
doesn't like higher scores, eh?
Yeah. Well, no one. Just wish I could get them. That's the trouble. So kind of going on to the modules bit then. You got any good examples of that off the top of your heads? I've got a couple.
So Everdell, that is
it's
a
modular,
kind of,
isn't it?
Yeah, and it's kind of a mixture. So you've got the kind of bits that you can add
They're
in.
quite chunky modules though.
I was
aren't
going
Yeah,
to say
yeah.
it's almost like 4 separate integrations, I think,
Yeah,
rather than
I mean,
modules,
You're
because they're
probably
all
right.
With the Belfair expansion, I will always play it with that now, and that's just a tiny little
yeah.
swap this for this.
So
So
that
it is like
replace
a
the
little.
tree a bit out and it goes at the
You don't
top,
ha-
or is
no,
it?
I still
I
like
can't
the
remember.
tree. Curly doesn't like the tree, but I still like the tree. The tree's still there. If I get a
In the
say in it.
corner,
If I get a say
looking
in it.
shameful and going, oh, I'm useless.
But yeah, the Belfair kind of module just bolted on the side doesn't affect gameplay. It just gives you a little bit more, a few more spaces, and swap 2 berries for a whatever,
Yeah,
kind of just a little bit of a shopping kind of a thing.
yeah.
And you can happily play that with all the same original stuff. You wouldn't need any of the other expansions. You could just play it
Yeah.
extra with that little module bolted on the side.
Nice.
I can't pronounce it. Bars of Tiffany? Is that the
Taverns of Tiefenthal.
Taverns of Tiefenthal.
Yes.
Yeah, those modules. You don't buy them separate. It's all in one box, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
you're
you
right. It's all
but you
part of
got
the base.
little
isn't it?
place. You get the entertainers, and you add the shots that go on
Yeah.
the bar. But they were all really good modules.
Yeah,
I
you got
thought.
the schnapps. Remember,
Schnapps.
I just remember there being lots
Schnapps,
of schnapps in that
entertainers.
game. Yeah.
What was that?
No idea.
No, I didn't put notes on that one. I couldn't remember.
But yeah, cause
But that's bring to my mind the modules in that one.
yeah, but technically that is your base game, but they have done an expansion, which I think is more modules.
Yeah.
So, and the thing I always liked about that, if you put the 2 boxes together, the expansion is the roof of the bar. So they thought about how to make
like
it look like on your
that.
shelf. I like that.
That's nice.
I didn't know
I
that.
don't know which
and then
way.
and then you put it on its side, and
Yeah,
it's
and
a,
then it's rubbish.
it's a
Yeah,
drunk tavern.
but
Yeah.
who puts their boxes on their side? Looking at Adrian.
Are you a vertical store?
Yeah,
Oh.
definitely. But you got to remember as well, I 3D print loads of inserts, so
it don't matter,
they doesn't fall
yeah.
out when you turn it on the side, which I know is a big thing
Yeah.
for people. But yeah, Queen Games tends to do a lot of
Queenies.
Yeah, they tend to do a lot of expansions that add modular stuff in.
Yeah.
And they've been doing it for quite a long time as well, and I've always thought that is quite a smart way of doing it. Like not Queen Games, but Panjun for Gugong
Yes, that was on my list.
is another similar one. And I think I don't think it's Queen Games if I remember correctly, but Splendor has a modular
Yep.
expansion as well.
Oh, okay.
The base one of that, and it is because if you've got 4 modules, 5 modules in a box, the replayability, especially if it's like pick 2. The replayability on that does get quite high ultimately for a smaller output, but it doesn't radically change the game. So if you invite someone who's only played the base game along,
You can throw them in, can't you?
here's a minute, 2 minutes extra explanation of
Yes.
this module and a minute, 2 minutes extra explanation of this module, and that's what I quite like about those modular ones. But I can't say that I've ever really played them properly
Yeah.
myself, but I do like the idea of them. They're normally the ones that I take a good second look at.
Good shout on Queen Games, because the Queenies that I've got for franchise, which again they're just tiny little modules, but they just vary the game up massively. For those that don't know franchise, it's kind of like a 1960s, basically a mad map of the US. With lots of routes and things going all over the place, and you're literally just doing area control and blocking and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it just adds like little modules of like one of them is just literally a boom standy token thing that moves around and doubles your income. That's all it does, but it makes a difference.
And again,
like,
just 10 seconds to explain
Yeah.
what it does really, and
yeah,
then
start your
it's the
turn,
same
you
with
move it, doubles your income. Got it. That's it.
Kingdom Builder,
Yeah.
Alhambra. Like I've looked at their modules and what they add on, and they sound really good. I've just never bought them because I don't own the base game myself. But even I'm like, if I bought the base game, I'd probably buy the modules.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other one that kind of springs to mind is Teotihuacan. Hopefully I said that right. I'm going with
Say it again.
Teotihuacan. Something like that. But that has all the expansions, the pre-classic expansion and the expansion period expansion, weirdly named, are all modules. So you can kind of just say, I'll have a bit of that and a bit of this and a bit of that, and we'll throw it in. Because it's me, I'll throw them all in.
Chaos JP.
Yeah, just throw it all and see what happens. Although I've not played the expansion period modules yet, but I do love that game. That's always good fun. Cool. And then the errata, really, the only ones that I can think of specifically other than what we mentioned is like Twilight Imperium, where they do codex. So they do a print. It's like a print and play expansion, air quotes. But they do replace or tweak existing cards, and they call it like the Omega cards. So essentially go, you know what? We'll just tweak this power a little bit. We'll tweak that power a little bit because, again, through more and more plays that games had online, if you're spending 8 hours playing a game, you want it to be balanced, ideally. But also they give you some new things in those codexes as well. Sometimes you get a new faction, kind of new abilities, some more action cards, different things. Again, not massive, and they're readily available for print and play, so that's quite nice.
You did get a couple of cards that they told you to remove in Wingspan Asia expansion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 4, I believe.
Okay.
Maybe 1 was removed altogether. I think it was the kind of starting bonus cards that you get, where you kind of aim your game.
Yeah.
But it's sort of, I think as they added more, maybe...
Wasn't a viable thing to go for.
Yeah, that's
anymore,
it. And I think obviously they've obviously been very, very clever with how they have added things in, because you know how you've got the percentage of those cards that are...
Yeah, they've tried to stick them the
they
same.
have,
haven't they,
yeah,
as you
yeah.
do
So there's
the
only
expansions.
there's only 4 cards that they said basically we've printed a different version, take the original ones out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's quite good considering how many extra birds that have
Oh
gone into
my,
that
there's
game.
plenty of birds in that game. I had to get 550 sleeves after
Did you?
Wingspan Watergate.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
Cool. There we go, a lot of birds.
There's an expansion we haven't talked about.
Go on.
A big box expansion.
The big box.
So
yeah, the storage. And
So quite often they'll be like, here's another module or something like that, and a big box to put it all in, and that can be just as good as actually extra content. In all honesty,
I like it.
I do too.
The big empty box, I'm always a bit like, okay, fair enough. And
Yeah.
some of them I bought, and some of them I've skipped for sure. But
Yeah.
normally, if it's like, here's the expansion, and now we've given you an insert that fits the expansion and the base box and the secret expansion that's coming out next or whatever, or gives you a bit of extra slot. I wonder what that slot's for. It's perfectly sized to put another expansion in. Those kind of boxes are actually quite good as well as an expansion.
It's quite good it's quite clever of the publishers as well, because it's like you've got the big box and now you've got an empty space.
So you're
going to release something. You obviously got to get it.
obviously going to get that, aren't
Because you've
you?
got to fill it, right? Yeah. You can't have the big box and not fill it with all the stuff.
A little gap. No.
It's quite clever, isn't it? Yeah, that's a good one, Adrian, because that's an important one. I'm just thinking I've got a few of
Yeah,
those.
I've got that as well.
So that kind of moves us on. Why do we get them? Why do we get Why do I get them?
JP cannot resist it.
Why do I get expansions? What is it?
I think it's really good that you've got a game that you like. So there's such a saturated market of games out there. It's really hard to kind of pick which one you want to go for, and they're really expensive. And I think if you really love a game, it's really nice if you've got a little expansion that you can add on to, maybe increase the replayability or the variation or whatever, instead of having to research a whole new game. I like that it just kind of, enhances
Spices it.
enhances the game that you already love, and hopefully doesn't change it too much. For usually less than the price of a new whole game.
Sometimes.
Depends
on the game.
Too many bones. What?
Too many bones. Twilight Imperium. Yeah. But yeah, I think we mentioned at the beginning, the reasons I think I get them is definitely that completionist.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I have to wrestle with this a lot. And I think I've got better on some of the games. Trying not to just automatically get expansions as soon as I've bought the bloody base game, which I've done. Like, I bought the base game, I bought the expansion. I think you haven't played it yet. I don't know if you like it. And you just need to not do that and just literally play the bloody base game. See if you like it. If so, and you play it enough times, then look at it.
That's the important part, is that, and I feel like I'm building a theme here, right? Because I've talked about the same. Like, an expansion feels about right when I get to 6 games. If I've played 6 games of something, then I normally feel like I've got my value out of that base game, and I'm probably going to play it more.
Yeah.
And at that point, I normally go, right, now I'll buy more content or change how the game plays slightly or something like that with an expansion. And that's when I feel like I then will get that, because I've proved to myself that
it's worth it.
It's worth it. And sometimes I don't, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I love this too much, it's going to go straight in or whatever, and I'll buy it. But for the most part, I wait for those 6 games almost in, and then I'll go, right, now I'll get an expansion, or now it's time to sell it on, and then I don't have to buy an expansion.
I think you're more rational than me. I think because especially in the earlier days of the gaming career, as it were, I would just want to rush to get the game that had the expansion in, and I'd always be like, oh god, I've got to play the base game because I've got a new player, and I really want to play this module, or I really want to play this expansion, and just kind of get everybody to that position as quickly as possible. But obviously, when you're coming in new, the last thing you want to be doing is I've got to learn the base game, and then I've got to learn the expansion, or 2 expansions that we've thrown in just to catch up, because you're already behind, aren't you? And I know I'm guilty of that massively.
Done it a few times,
I am guilty of that. Yeah, I've done that to you. I always remember saying to Tick, "You'll be fine, mate. You'll get used to it. It's fine."
Just watch this 45-minute video, and then these 15-minute video expansion teachers as well, and you'll be fine.
It's the wrong thing to do, and I know that. But sometimes I'm a selfish git.
I can't remember the game. What was the wine one? With the wine one? Which one?
Viticulture.
Viticulture. That was it. When you threw all expansion. I played it before. When you threw, and I'm gonna put this expansion.
Yeah, but see, Tuscany. It was fine. You'll be fine with that.
Just watch this video, like you just said. Then watch the film. Then watch the Tuscany video. Yeah, okay. JP.
I didn't have the cheeses in.
No,
so
I haven't done that yet.
I didn't have it at the time.
Oh, okay.
It was out of print.
I don't know. I think
I played it once. That's fine.
sometimes that can be okay. So my first introduction to Lords of Waterdeep, as we've mentioned on the podcast before, was at 11 o'clock one night, day 2 of the convention, knackered, but still had all the other bits in. And I think I can't imagine what that game would be like. It would be a definitely pale in comparison experience without the skull. Oh, see, I don't know what
Scoundrels
the expansion.
Scoundrels,
I've never
Scoundrels.
ever looked at the extra box because it's all just mixed in.
Yeah,
So I can't
as
imagine.
you know, it is
That's
Lords of Waterdeep.
that's the base game. Yeah.
But it's what complexity does it set that game at? So JP likes complex games, and then likes adding complexity on top of it, and so therefore the entry point of those games is already high anyway,
absolutely.
and then you're adding in more complexity, which is where I think that sort of comment you've made of I shouldn't do this. Whereas
I know.
Lords of Waterdeep is
very much more
lightweight,
basic.
and then when you add the expansion, it takes it to light to midweight.
Yeah, I can't. Having only ever played it with, I can't imagine that it would be more complex or any less complex really without.
It definitely builds that game up. Again, if your entry point into the hobby was Lords of Waterdeep, then you'd probably get a few games of it before you decide to put the expansion in. But because it is it's not very lightweight, but it is on that lightweight scale, that just above entry level almost weight. Then adding that expansion in brings it up to where we as a group generally are used to as a weight and a complexity.
Yeah, you've surpassed the kind of the weight, and you've played heavier games. So coming back to Lords of Waterdeep plus expansion is like, it's easy. Like, you're not going to struggle, but some players absolutely will. But I think one of the reasons why I do it, and I've done this in Twilight Imperium as well with the Prophecy of Kings expansion, which I really love. I can't play it without it, right? But sometimes we get new players to the table, and there's a part of me thinking probably should leave that out. And I kind of think I don't want to, because this is a game I play twice a year.
Yeah.
And if we leave it out, got to wait 6 months before I try it out again.
Does it make that much of a difference having not played either of the versions?
It
does.
Adds enough.
Yeah, it adds more like. Well, it's a 4X game, right? Well, one of the X's being exploration. So it helps add a bit more oomph to the exploration. Okay. Gives you a bit more things to go after in terms of cards that you're drawing and artifacts and relics that you're getting. But also, I think my favourite bit about that whole expansion is the fact that every faction now has like heroes and leaders, and different unique
more
abilities.
asymmetric than
Yeah.
it was before.
Okay.
So it just gives you more to lean into. But Christ Almighty, if this is your first game, so it must be overwhelming.
I played it on my third game, and even I was like, I don't want to be I don't want to add this stuff to it already.
But yeah, but that's the example I kind of go to. But I suppose it depends how regularly you're going to get this game to the table.
Yeah.
So if it's, you're not going to get the game out for another 2 or 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of like, I really want to try it. But equally, you want new players to have a good time.
Otherwise, they'll never play it with
Otherwise,
you again,
they-
and then
yeah.
you won't get to play
Otherwise,
it.
they might bounce hard off this game because you've put the complexity rating up too high for them to get in, to even understand it. So the other example, which I have taken my time over, and I've been very good, is Tricarion, right? Because Tricarion, I've got the big box, right? And one of the main expansions in there is Dalgard's Academy, which I know ramps the damn game complexity levels up. It's already heavy. It's not
heavy.
a medium game, it's a heavy game. But I've purposely taken my time. It's like I'm on a date with it. Taking my time, being really slow with Tricarion.
You're only holding
wooing it.
hands at the minute.
Yeah, only holding hands. Not got to any heavy petting. But no, just literally just taking each game as it goes. And we've thrown a little module in here and that there, but nothing too major. But yeah, we kind of kept it because I just know that.
That's gonna-
might clash in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's that. But yeah, why do I get them? I just love them. But I have got better, I think.
I think I'm probably, I don't know, T might be. I was going to say, I'm probably the more selective. Because
Yeah.
Becky will buy everything, especially if you recommend it to her.
Yes, that
And
is true.
JP's the completionist.
Yeah.
I don't, maybe it's just that I've been in the hobby longer and I'm the
Yeah.
grumpy old gamer at this point. Or what,
You've
I
gone
don't
around the
know,
circle, though, I think. You're
Yeah.
further around the curve than we are.
and so possibly, but
Yeah.
the one that I remember distinctly thinking, I don't even want. I've played it a ton, but I don't want the expansion. Was Barren Park
Oh, that's interesting.
because I played it and
The
the
More
expansion.
Bears,
Yeah,
is
the
it?
More Bear, the Grizzly Bears or
Yeah.
whatever it's called.
And
Bad News
there's
Bears.
Bad News
Bad
Bears.
News Bears. And there's monorails.
And there's monorails and all that lot. And I was looking at it and I was like, I actually really like where this game is at right now. I don't want to add the expansion. Everyone's told me how good the expansion is, but I like the weight. I like what it takes. I like how easy it is to teach. All of that lot right now, I don't see myself. I would probably enjoy the expansion, but I'm happy with it is where it is. And so I don't need to spend the 20 quid
Yeah.
extra on the expansion. That was the first time. That was a few years ago
Good
now.
for you.
Well, I genuinely was like, actually, there's a real reason. I've played it a ton, because normally if I've played it a ton, I'm like, well, I might as well buy the expansions then.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my qualifier, is if I get 6 games in and it's still there and I'm still enjoying it, then it's probably worth investing a bit more money. And that was one of the first ones where I got to 6 games and I was like, nope, I'm happy with it as it is. The game to me is good enough.
Holds up, stands up.
On the base game, I don't need to buy
You're not
anything
bored
else.
of it?
No, still happy to play it. I don't play it every week or anything like that, but play it a few times a year and I'm just happy with where it is. And this is where I see you guys like rushing out and it's like, you've not even played a game of it yet, or you've had one game. Yeah, I want to play it with the expansion now, but did you go through all of your routes? Did you try different ways of winning? No, I just fancy it with the expansions. And I think, oh, I remember those days.
No, Adrian, it's shiny. So let's talk about some of our favourites then. So I'm going to look at you, T, because I know you've got your sheet in front of you.
Oh yeah.
So what expansions do we recommend that where you think, wow, that changes the base game, would never ever play without them?
I'll go with the Outer Rim one, the Unfinished Business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thought that might be on
That'll
the
be the
list.
first.
Yeah.
That's my top one.
Not because I just read it. I
Yeah,
just
no,
thought that
no.
would
It's,
be-
yeah, it'll be my top one. Yeah.
Talked about it highly before.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely one of the expansions that I wouldn't play the base game without. Again, without it's a bit like World's Water Deep now. I just would not do it. The Manchester Madness Second Edition, all those expansions are really
Yeah,
good.
All of them.
All of them.
The mansions
Well, yeah.
are really good, aren't they?
I think it's one of those things. It's like I won't buy an expansion unless I enjoy the game. I
Yeah.
have to play the game, and if I love it, I'll get expansions. It doesn't matter how much it costs, or what's it going to be.
Yeah.
I'll just keep going, and I'll keep going. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, some of them aren't as good as others, but yeah, no, Mansions is really, really good. Horrific Journeys is one of my favourites, I think.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but I've got all of them.
I mean, that's what the game should be called. Horrific Journeys. That's because that is literally what you're going
Yeah.
through.
You're
isn't
on
it?
a horrific
It's
journey
literally
every time.
is.
It's all going
Yeah.
wrong. So save the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be honest, and it's like Marvel Champions again.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. I love that game. So now anything comes out, it's mine.
So wait, Becky, what are the classics or good expansions that
I think
Really good.
Terraforming Mars. Now, I only ever played Terraforming Mars with the expansions.
Which ones? There's quite a lot.
Okay, so I didn't add them in the box, and because I've only played them from,
Our game.
from already mixed together.
Yeah.
The one that adds the colonies. Is that called
Colonies.
colonies?
Colonies,
there we go.
Colonies, yeah.
Yeah.
Prelude, you guys.
Prelude, really
Prelude.
like those.
That's like an auto include. Prelude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what the other ones add, like I say, because I've only ever
You
played
played-
with those in.
Yeah, you
So-
play
that's it, that's
the
all you ever
maps.
play them.
You
I think
play
it's the
the
maps.
Hellas and
Hellas and
Elysium.
Elysium.
Oh, okay. Is that just new
They're
maps? Is
different
it?
maps.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we sometimes
you don't
mix
tend
that
to
up.
play Venus
you
next.
guys don't play with. No.
I don't mind it personally, but it's.
Is that the one that adds all the kind of
It's another tracker.
politician
No,
politics
no,
side?
Turmoil.
It's
Okay,
Turmoil.
so we don't play with that one either.
Yeah, and I do like Turmoil, but not every time. So I like Turmoil when I think, you know what, I want to get punished, and play Terraforming Mars. Because that's essentially what you're up against it with Turmoil. You're just getting docked victory points every round, but you have to kind of manipulate the political seats and stuff. But I quite like it.
Okay.
But it's not something I want to auto-include. It's just if I fancy a flavour twist,
Yeah.
I will add it in.
Not all the time.
Not
I think,
all the
A couple
time.
of times here and there is really good to
Yeah,
I like it.
just refreshes it up and changes the strategy of the game.
Yeah, Mansions of Madness, like Tambo said.
Yeah.
That's it just has more stories, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You could still play the base with the base thing, and I don't think it would change the game, but replayability is just out of this world.
Yeah.
Haha. Dog Park, maybe. Just more dogs. I mean, it doesn't really change it. It just adds famous dogs.
Famous dogs, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've got
Famous
that one.
dogs.
Yeah, famous dogs.
Is Lassie in it?
Yeah. No, I didn't see Lassie. I haven't actually
I
looked
don't think
through them.
I did look through them because I sleeved that as well.
Oh,
after,
yeah.
after the wingspan hideousness, Christmas water spill, I thought, right, this is it. I'm going on a sleeving mission. And I never thought I'd be a sleever.
What was Tintin's dog called?
Snowy.
Snowy.
No Snowy's
Snowy
in
in
there.
it.
I
I
don't
haven't looked through them. I
know.
just shuffled them in. I didn't even bother reading them.
I don't remember seeing any famous dogs in my play.
But the dog part, like I said, the dog part, there's loads of them. So
Yeah.
there's only like a little stack
Yeah.
of coming to
You
them.
might not even.
You might
come
never
out.
come up.
What about you, mate?
I've mentioned one of them, and it's the game I always mention. It's a Wonderful World. Taking it from 5 to 7 players is the big part of it. So for me, it really rivals Seven Wonders. In order to do that, you have to get to 7 players, really.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of those extra player ones where you have to add the extra deck. The extra deck is a little bit more of added complexity, but to get to those extra players, it's worth it for me. So that was a big one that I really enjoyed. And then Hogwarts again, because Hogwarts is kind of legacy. You don't destroy anything, so it's always replayable, but it is that kind of you open a box at a time. And
Yeah.
adding those extra boxes. So I've just got the Monster Book of Monsters, and now we just sometimes mix that in to play a random game, but I really enjoyed adding those in. I haven't bought potions with the 5th player that
You will never use.
we'll never use.
I bought potions before I actually bought the base game.
Oh,
So I knew I was
really?
going to buy them all together, and I
Yeah.
saw that one on eBay really cheap or
It looks-
somewhere really
It
cheap.
looks really good. 'Cause
Yeah.
it,
Yes.
whereas Monster Book of Monsters really just adds more of the same.
Okay.
The potions thing adds a whole crafting potions
Yeah,
sideboard
so
thing.
we haven't played either of the expansions yet.
So-
We decided to be good this time and eke out the gameplay. So we're
Yeah,
going
which
through all
it's
the
worth
all
it.
the
And then
years,
add it
and
in.
then add
Yeah.
Because you do it year by year. I
Yeah.
think it's worth doing it that way. And then most of the other expansions have just been sort of more of the same, and so I don't know that I'd really
stuff.
recommend them as such. They were just, I'm glad I've got them, sort of thing.
Fair enough.
What about yourself?
Me, Dune Imperium, Rise of
So I need
Ix.
to play that. That does
Rise
look
of
good.
Ix is. I didn't think it would add much, but oh my god, it does.
Yeah,
Like for what
awesome.
it does, it twists it around a little bit. You've got the little technology tiles that you kind of acquire, gives you a little engine, shall we say, to power you in different directions. But actually, I think that my favourite thing of it is this shipping track. I know it sounds dull, but the shipping track where you
it's-
kind
that's
of
great.
you push up this track,
Yeah.
and then you take the action to kind of take everything that you've got to the level and below. So you're suddenly getting these like massive, yes, I'm getting all these things, troops and everything. Just that is just brilliant.
Does it
Yeah.
sink to the bottom again? Or
Yeah,
is
it sinks
it
to the bottom, and you go all the
recharge
way
it.
back
I like
up.
that, yeah.
So when do you pull that token back? Do you get to right to the top, or do you do it early?
Do I need a little bit now?
Yeah.
Or do I want a lot later?
Just
sort
that
of thing?
little decision is like, ooh, and obviously you get more cards, you get more options, you get this, that, and the other. I really like what it does, and I can't ever see never playing without it. To be honest, Immortality, haven't played, can't comment. That's coming soon. That's that one. Star Wars Rebellion, so the Rise of the Empire for me.
Oh, see, I've not played with that.
Yeah, so for me, again, would never not play without that expansion. It revamps the combat. It turns it into what they call cinematic combat. Don't know why it's cinematic, but it's basically just more rolling dice. But it's just the combat mechanics just better in every way. The other one, Anachrony, Fractures of Time, for me, just love that. I love Anachrony anyway, but the Fractures of Time just adds this blinking mechanic where you can essentially, you put your exosuit with the worker in it out on the board, and you can kind of teleport it around the board as well not the same time, but you kind of get more use out of your workers and exosuits. So yeah, I really enjoy that one.
Nice.
But I like them all, to be fair. And I could probably talk about expansions all episode, but we probably should wrap this one up. There's so many, there's so good. But I mean, if we're going to wrap this up, it's like, are expansions vital? No, they're not vital at all. Should you get them? Only if, I think what Adrian, you said, I think that 6-game rule, I like that.
Yeah, that's a good metric. I like
play a game, play the base game 6 times, and then see how you feel. And if you're getting the game out that much, then that could be over 2 weeks, it could be over 6 months, it could be over 3 years, depending on your rate of play. But yeah, if you get to that point and go, you know what, I'm done with this now, or I feel like it needs a refresh, or I feel like it needs something, then give it a go. I'll try and listen to that.
It's one of those, again, I don't stick to it vehemently. I do like it's just a general rule, and Kickstarters can buck that as well quite a bit. Although I've got wiser with that as well, because I used to be I'll go all in 2 plays later. It's all in on the sales page now.
My all in pledge is on sale. Yeah.
Whereas like a few of the ones I've got coming up, I haven't gone all in on. I thought I'll buy it, and although it says it's only via Kickstarter, they're going to launch another Kickstarter with a reprint at some point, I'm sure, and I'll pick them up then if I really like it. Yeah. So
there we go. Expansion's done.
There we go.
There we go. So we're hitting turn 4, where normally we'd be doing question time, right?
Yep.
Normally, but we've actually decided to switch this segment up a little bit, and we're going to change it. So, but firstly, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's sent questions in. And if you want to keep sending questions, then please do, because we still like to get them, and we can still maybe
bank them up a little bit and answer them down the line or something.
Exactly,
throw them in every now and again.
We can do something with them, but we thought we'd change this segment up, and we're actually going to call this Badly Hexplained Games. So just a little bit of fun, something that kind of breaks the episode up, where we literally will basically explain a board game very, very badly to see if you can guess what it is. So that's essentially what it is.
Are we doing like a bell or a...
I can add a bell sound effect, or you can just talk. Depends on what you want to do. So I've got one, if you want to give it a go.
Okay.
Are you ready? Hopefully you might get it. Maybe you won't. So I've got 5 families send their members into tall, thin structures to meet important people, ransack local forests, whipping servants whilst evading the church's watchful eye.
I might know it.
Do you?
Yeah, I think so.
What are you, Adrian?
The tall, thin structures, lighthouses, wizard towers. That's kind of where my mind was going, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
About you, T?
No.
I don't think you've played it, so that might not help you.
Have I played it?
Don't know. Maybe not.
Go on then, Becky.
I might have the title wrong, but is it Lorenzo El Magnifico?
Absolutely.
Yes, I've not played it.
Yeah, so...
Only because you've got your stupid cousin who's an idiot.
Stupid cousin,
it's a stupid cousin that you have to take round, isn't it? He has to be, chaperoned everywhere.
Yeah, it's because he's useless.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a 0 and he's like, oh, I can't go anywhere without a servant.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he can kind of sneak into the towers when other family members are in those towers. So it's basically towers. If I'd said towers, might have given it away even more. I think Becky was on there.
Yeah, I don't think any of us have played it then, have we?
Played it one
No, I
time.
haven't played it. So.
Yeah.
Becky's played it. I thought you might know of it enough to know what it was.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd throw it in. And maybe your listeners who
I
have played it.
bet you there's a few of them going, yeah, of course it's that.
It's bloody Lorenzo, mate. What are you talking about? Anyway, I thought I'd start it off. I think, Adrian, you've got one. Right?
So I started, as soon as we came up with
17.
this idea, I was like, I'll throw a few together, but I'll put the one out.
Yeah, go on.
So, in this game, I am going to produce different goods of varying porousness.
Okay.
And in the first half of the game, I am going to try and sell them by putting them in water. And when that doesn't work, in the second half of the game, I'm going to try and sell them by putting them in a large outdoor kettle.
It's obvious, that, isn't it? Come on.
I might know it.
Ugh. Silence. God, I have no idea. Do you, T?
No.
Can we give clues? Can we ask clues? Because Becky might know it. She might give the answer, and then we're going to be like,
Go on. Well, let's.
Well, my mind immediately said Quacks of Quedlingberg.
No.
Darn it.
It's the poorest thing.
So
things with holes in, like a sponge.
Sometimes when I'm selling these goods, it's better just to, pour some alcohol in the water or in the kettle to sell them better.
Thanks, Adrian. That's really helped. Yeah, really helped. Yeah, I haven't got a pissing clue. No idea.
No,
I just might as well give it away. So it's Brass Birmingham.
Oh.
So I can sell ceramics which aren't porous. I can sell box goods which are kind of porous, or wool which is very porous.
Yeah.
So varying degrees of porous. And in the first half, I'll sell them via canal. So I'm just going to put them in some water and see if I can sell them.
Yeah, alcohol being the beer.
And in the second half, I'll put them in a large outdoor kettle, also known as a steam train, and try and sell them that way.
Very good.
one game I haven't played, which I really want to play.
Brass Birmingham,
Yeah.
very
Brass
good
Birmingham.
game.
It's a
Very
good
good.
game, yeah.
Quite thinky. It's a thinky bugger.
I'm used to them, thanks.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
We've trained you well. But yeah, God, I wouldn't have gone there in a million years. I was thinking of like pumice stones and to get anything porous like rocks and things.
Yeah, I thought that would throw a few people.
Gee, yeah, I've got a clue, mate.
I thought there'd be people going, "What on earth is that?"
And that's what this segment's
That's
about.
what it's about.
So at home, if you got that, please email in and let us know.
And if you didn't, well, join the club. We didn't pretty much get it. But yeah, before we try something new, we'll keep throwing these. Probably keep it quite short and sweet. And we'll see how we go on
See
future
what
episodes.
we can get out of that.
Teaser.
See what it is.
Nice.
Right, on to the penultimate turn. Right, it's the penultimate turn, guys. What are we excited about? What's coming up for you? Tambo, I'm looking at you. So
Okay,
you
all
can
right,
go.
fair enough. Yep.
Yeah.
I've got Frosthaven coming up. The date's been put in from Curly's put a date in. So
What's that game? Never heard of it.
Frosthaven.
Frosthaven.
Yeah, Frosthaven.
Oh.
Yeah. So really, really looking forward to it. So yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm not sure much about it. Well, it's like Clue Maven, isn't it? But
I think
a bit more going on, I think.
Blue Maven
There's a lot
2.0.
of pieces
Is there?
because I've just put together the folded space insert.
Is that the blue? Is it blue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very nice actually. It's a nice insert.
I wonder if they
and
made it easy to set up.
Hopefully insert.
You've got little player trays. I can answer this question. You've got little player trays, which I think stay static. So you do, yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
a lot of pieces.
When you say stay static, what do you mean? Like what?
I think you have your little tray, and it's like
you play off it with the decks and
Well, there's room for cards, and there's a room to put. I don't know because I've never played it. I just
your
helped.
items and equipment.
Yeah,
maybe.
I helped pop the thing and glue the thing.
Frosthaven, yeah.
Yeah.
Who's in the Frosthaven group?
Me, Rob, James, and Curly.
Rob got on it.
Yeah,
did
Rob in it. He's
Nice.
confirmed the date as well quite quickly as well.
Bloody
Good for
hell.
him. Yeah. It's,
Must be
well
really
done, yeah.
interested to play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's keen.
You can tell when he's keen because he responds to messages.
Yeah.
But there we go. Nice.
Little slide
That's
dig
it.
there, Rob.
Yeah.
Nah, he's used to it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, he calls me worse things.
Yeah.
I listen to the bloopers.
On the bloopers, yeah.
Nice one, Frosthaven for you. What about you, Becky?
Well, not gaming. I'm going to Disneyland Paris on Friday with my friend, which will be really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you been before to Disneyland Paris?
I have. It wasn't I didn't have the best experience, but
Yeah, okay.
yeah, this is a press trip she's been invited to, and I'm going as her little secret squirrel +1. So it's all good.
It's all on expenses!
Absolutely. But gaming wise, I am introducing the best game on earth to a couple of friends who sounded really interested in it.
Too many people?
Crokinole,
Oh.
obviously. Crokinole, obviously. So yeah, I'm taking my board around on Monday, and yeah, they're going to have a go.
It gets to the point where I think Crokinole is easier to take to people than
This
Too
is
Many
it.
Bones is, right? Which I was just thinking in my head, like, yeah, if I had to take that anywhere, what a pain in the arse that would be. With
I mean,
that
this
big
board
box.
is massive.
I know, but still,
Yeah.
the trove
Your
chest,
trove chest
is heavy.
Yeah.
It's probably heavier than the Crokinole board, to be honest.
But I think it's easier taking a Crokinole board round and sort of getting someone to actually flick a disc than trying to explain how good it is to people that have never seen it or had a go.
Depends if you've got like a rig made out of ties. That tends to help in taking it somewhere. I
Don't
think.
mock my box dragging system with my shower curtain on the
Ian
edge of it.
tried it and got shot down, didn't
Yeah.
he? Yeah. And then realised actually your rig was a hell of a lot more comfortable
Yes,
than his
it
Crokinole
was.
bag.
Yeah, his special Crokinole bag, my original box it came in with a shower curtain and lots of ties tied together. And it was more comfortable. So there we go.
Are you taking any games on this Disneyland Paris
I'm
trip?
going to take Cluster because it's easy.
It's easy, yeah.
I'm going to take Uno, Disney Uno that I have.
Has
That's
to be.
easy.
Has to
yeah.
be, yeah.
Can you think of any other things that maybe I should take? What would you guys suggest?
Well, how many? Is it just two of you?
Well, it's the two of us, but there's going to be a group of people. So
Zuli.
yeah, Zulu. I might be a little bit too like you'll need a notepad and a pen. I mean, I will take it.
I'm
But
just trying to think
Yeah.
of what packs up
Yeah.
small, really. So
Well, I've
Love letter.
just love letter.
love
yeah.
letter. Yeah,
I
I
just-
made Harry Potter love letter, so maybe I should take my Harry Potter love letter version.
Yeah, Disney adjacent,
Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, same kind of ballpark. I just got because I just had like a couple of friends around the other night, and I'm thinking I really need like a small box game. I'm just kind of not bored with the stuff I've got, but it's the same old stuff. So I just got Scout. This is Anoint Games.
yeah, I've heard good things.
And I've heard good things, and the shop sit down did a little review of it and video of it. I thought, that looks quite good as a quick kind of card game to play. So
Just one.
Yeah, I might have to just take just because it's just so good. And then, to be honest, I can probably put all the rest of them in that box.
you could,
Potentially.
yeah,
So maybe that's
that's the answer.
the answer.
That's
there
the
we
answer.
go.
There we go. Nice, Adrian.
So this weekend is Royal Rumble weekend, and I'm a big
Royal Rumble weekend.
yeah. So it's wrestling WWE.
Yeah.
So and I'm
I thought that's what it was, but I didn't know if it's like something that you did on the side.
no.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
like that.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, I'm kind of an on and off again fan of wrestling, but when I'm sort of into it and there's a really good storyline with the Bloodline, as they're called, going on, and so I will be watching the Royal Rumble, but that disrupts my usual weekend gaming.
Yeah. Okay.
So I've managed to agree to bring it forward to the Friday, and I've also managed to agree that we'll get something off my shelf of shame. So I'm thinking after the Empire, where you build up a little castle and defend it from attackers that come in from different directions. There's a few nice bits and pieces on that. So I'm thinking that's probably the one I'm going to try and lure people into playing, but nothing confirmed yet.
See what happens.
Just see what happens. But they have said, yeah, we'll learn something new. So absolutely, it'll be something off the shelf of shame. And I've got a few on there now because I've bought a few bits over Christmas. But
Yeah. Nice.
How about you?
Well, I've got a trip to Rome coming up.
Oh,
And I think by the time this episode comes out, I would have been. So
How
again,
was it?
podcast
Was it
time.
nice?
Yeah, it was brilliant. Colosseum, amazing. So now I'm actually looking forward to getting out there. I've taken the family, so the wife and the kids, and it's kind of part of my wife Shell's 40th present. So her 40th is still going on.
You gotta make it last.
We've got to eke it out, haven't we?
Absolutely,
Yeah. So no, I'm really looking forward to that. We've got like 4 nights away. Just city. But I love city breaks.
Yeah, it's good.
You kind of just milling around. You do a lot of walking, seeing things. It's just all exciting, isn't it? A little adventure. So getting to try all the food. So I'm looking forward to that. But gaming wise, this week I've got Vinhos, which is the Portuguese Lacerda game.
nice.
That we got to the table, or we'll get to the table on Wednesday. So second play. Yeah, I really enjoyed the first play, so just to see if I actually do better. Probably not. But yeah, just see how it works, really. So yeah.
I mean, you could do a little tour of Rome by buying the Assassin's Creed game where you can wander around Rome.
I have played Assassin's Creed Brotherhood,
Yeah,
which I think is
Who's
the
the
set
one?
in Rome. So I feel like I know Rome pretty well. Only by
especially
rooftops.
across the rooftops. Yeah. The streets not so much,
No.
but rooftops and
Yeah.
what it looks like when you dive off the edge of the Colosseum.
I love that game. and because that's the one where you can recruit all the
You could recruit
assassins
people
and stuff.
to your team and all that lot. And
They've
run
got
around
little
with the game.
missions.
Just press the button and watch them all jump out of alleyways.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, it's weirdly I've looked at the map and had that instant nostalgic kind of flashback of playing that game. Going, oh, yeah, I know where everything is. But no, can't wait to go. Should be good fun. So there we go. We got there.
Cool.
All expansioned out, are we? We're all finished and done. So this is my last episode. Oh, it's gone really quick.
It has.
It's
It
gone
does
really-
feel like it's gone really
I
quick.
just felt like I started it, and now I've got to hand the baton over
It's
again.
true, we are kicking off the podcast. Oh, you mean your last episode is first play?
Yeah. You've let me back on. What the hell is wrong with you? So no, we're handing over to Davey, James Davey. He's going to take over. He's got some excellent content coming up, some new episodes. Looking forward to that. So yeah, time to wrap it up. So you can get in contact with us via many different ways as always. You can get us on the Board Game Geek if you want to check out our episodes on there. You can email us at players@whosturn.co.uk. We've got Facebook at Whose Turn Is It Anyway Podcast, Instagram at Whose Turn Podcast, and of course TikTok at Whose Turn Is It Anyway. I won't be back again. Maybe I will. We'll see what.
He might let you on another episode.
We'll see what happens. Who knows? We haven't worked it out yet. But we'll be back again in 2 weeks. And until then, whose turn is it?